Greetings to everyone out there in the NoDQ galaxy. Welcome to NoDQ Live here on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel, youtube.com/AaronRiftNoDQ. Noah Foster already left a $5 super chat donation. Thank you so much, Noah. He's been a great addition to the NoDQ team. Make sure you follow him, NoDQ.com/Noah. Again, thank you to Noah Foster for the super chat to kick off NoDQ Live. If you are going to send a super chat, please try to stick to the topic or roast me, whatever you prefer. Hello, Caitlin. How's it going? So, Smackdown Live opened up with the man, Becky Lynch. Becky arrived in her vehicle, her rental car, whatever it was. She was interviewed by the person whose name escapes me at the moment. She asked Becky about Asuka in the Royal Rumble. Becky said she'll explain the situation in the ring. She started going towards the ring, and then the camera cut to the New Day. They made their appearance for this week's SmackDown. They were not on the show last week, but this week they had a brief appearance, and they were with the new tag team that we saw on Raw. We saw Heavy Machinery with the New Day, and Otis, I believe his name is. He was mixing all of the pancakes into a batter or a blender, whatever it was. And then he started drinking it. He offered it to the New Day, and they were not really sure what they wanted to do. But Becky came back, she drank it, and then said it was a little weak. Becky then left, went to the ring, and that was the last we saw of New Day on this show. Chris Mace with a $5 super chat. He says, "Thank you for everything you do. Love the show and glad to be getting back on track. Sorry for interrupting the review." Not a problem, Chris Mace. I appreciate the super chat and thank you for your support. I guess it was a protein shake mixed with eggs. I missed that. I thought it was just pancakes. I guess maybe I was just not really paying that much attention to it. But whatever. We had Becky come out and said, it's easy to be the man until you actually try to be the man, and then you find out it's a lot more difficult than it sounds. Becky brought up how Asuka was all about hype, and Asuka was on this Raw undefeated streak, but then she lost at WrestleMania to the person that Becky ended up beating 5 months in a row, or whatever it was. You know. Ken terminated by Google with a $2 super chat donation. I cannot roast you. Got a lot of respect for you, Rift. Well, thank you for that, Ken. I really do appreciate it. Where is Kayfabe Candy Ass? That is the question that Caitlin is asking in the chat room. Oh, there he is. Yay, Kayfabe Candy Ass has arrived to the NoDQ Live chat room. So happy to have KCA in the house. So anyways, Becky talked about how after Asuka lost, she fell off the radar. Asuka then came out and started cutting a promo on Becky, saying Becky has a lot of buzz. The problem is, unlike a bee, she had no sting. And she said this in her very broken accent, and the crowd almost started doing what chants at her. Then we had the Iconics come out, and they started talking about how they're going to win the Rumble, and then Becky basically challenged them to a match. For some reason, I thought we were going to see a tag team match. I thought this was going to be a Teddy Long special. I thought we were going to see a singles match turned into a tag match, but that did not happen. So WWE did a little bit of a swerve on us, and we got a singles match between Becky Lynch and Peyton Royce, which Becky did win. It was fairly lengthy. Becky did end up picking up the victory with the disarm her. Then we had Asuka get in the ring and challenge Billie Kay to a match. Billie and Peyton started to leave when Asuka went to the outside, brought Billie back into the ring, and they had basically a quick match. Asuka mocked the disarm her, and then that almost cost her the match when Billie got her in a near fall position, but then Asuka was able to kick out, put on the Asuka lock, and win by submission. So there you go. Asuka and Becky Lynch win their respective singles matches. By the way, the Iconics did, during their promo, mention that they're going to win the tag team titles at Elimination Chamber, so I guess they're officially in it, unless WWE decides to have them fight for the spot. But they did talk about winning the tag team titles at Elimination Chamber. Tony H with a $2 super chat donation. He says, Asuka really needs a mouthpiece. Thank you for that, Tony H. And I do agree with you. I think Asuka could definitely benefit by a mouthpiece. A lot of people have said that Asuka would benefit from having Paul Heyman be the mouthpiece. And I agree on that. She would be a great Paul Heyman girl, but I sense like WWE's never going to do that. I think like WWE is destined to have Paul Heyman only represent Brock Lesnar from this point forward. Also, the Iconics talked about how they are going to win the Royal Rumble, I guess, together or something. I don't know. Kiro Battle says, what's up, Aaron? Been watching for many years. Thanks. Well, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. So we had AJ Styles come out through the crowd, and then actually he came through the entrance, and then he walked up through the crowd to the concessions area. After the commercial break, AJ Styles cut this promo with the fans just like Daniel Bryan did last week, only this time AJ was defending the fans, saying they're allowed to do whatever they want. They buy a ticket, they can eat all the merchandise they want. And it was pretty clear that these were planted fans because they were all standing there not doing anything. Like right before the segment started, we came back from commercial and they were all just standing there, and then there was some kind of cue or whatever, and then everybody started making noise and reacting. So yeah, that was quite lame, but the segment was pretty good overall. Daniel Bryan came through the crowd, attacked AJ, and they were fighting, and then AJ ended up recovering, slamming Bryan through a table. Bryan was covered in mustard, which was quite hilarious. I wasn't a fan of the shaky camera work on this show, but what else is new? I say this every single week. New era. Hey, WWE, I'm the authority, right? We're all the authority. How about no more shaky camera work? I'm just going to say that every week until the authority has their message come through and we get no more shaky camera work. I demand it, damn it. I'm the authority. I want no more shaky camera work. And since WWE didn't do it, Caleb mentions this, Glass is going to be in theaters this Friday. And by the way, how dare you guys that are watching this live, you're missing out on Temptation Island. 24 singles ready to mingle and find out if you're really with the right person. Test your love. That's what Temptation Island is all about. So if you're not watching it, you have to make sure you check out the replay. Maybe you're smart and you're DVRing it, but you must check out Temptation Island, the hot new show that tests the relationships of random actors in Hollywood that were cast for the show. And no, I'm not going on Temptation Island. Anyways, back to SmackDown Live. We had Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso, the Usos, backstage. Jimmy got a letter which Jey read. The letter read about how I've been a naughty girl and I want you to lock me in the Uso penitentiary. Only it wasn't signed by Naomi. It was signed by Mandy Rose. Jimmy was upset, of course. And then this led to Samoa Joe walking by, and EC3 was standing to the side posing in the mirror, and that was EC3's cameo for this edition of SmackDown. We then had, what did we have here? Oh, I did want to add before we get to the whole Samoa Joe, Mustafa Ali deal. WWE showed stills of R-Truth and Carmella at WWE headquarters. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the best thing you can do. You do not actually have footage of it. You just show it on SmackDown in the form of stills. Really? I thought that was very disappointing. I mean, you made a big deal out of them winning Mixed Match Challenge and getting their paid vacation. At least do something with video footage. I mean, they'll probably show something on friggin' WWE.com or whatever, but show it on SmackDown. Why not? You can give us like 2 or 3 minutes, or maybe throughout the show have little, 30-second clips here and there throughout the broadcast. I don't know. I think this was definitely a missed opportunity. Then we had an Andrade CN Almas promo for his match with Rey Mysterio. Almas did talk a little bit. Oh, by the way, no more CN Almas. He is just Andrade. So like Rusev, like Cesaro, and many others, Andrade no longer has a middle or last name. I love Andrade, but he should not be talking. Zelina Vega should be doing 100% of the talking for him. Every time he talks, it just comes off as very awkward. And like Nakamura, his English is very broken, which doesn't really help him much. And also the way he pronunciates, I'm not a fan of that either. Then we had what was supposed to be Samoa Joe versus whatever his name is, Mustafa Ali. But Samoa Joe, in typical WWE fashion, attacked Ali before the match even began. This is getting old. We see this week after week after week. It's becoming a running thing, one of those gimmicks where the heel jumps the babyface before the match even begins. I mean, this is just being completely overdone. I'm tired of it. It's lazy writing. Samoa Joe beat the crap out of him, and there was no match. I mean, if this was the first time it was done in a year, I'd be like, cool, that's fine. But we seem to get something like this like every couple weeks, and I'm not really a big fan of it. So, and it's the same stuff. Samoa Joe says he's going to win the Royal Rumble, yada, 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 whatever. Backstage, Sonya Deville was talking to Mandy Rose, and Mandy Rose said she wanted to make Naomi's life miserable, and she was going to do that by ruining their marriage, and she gave Jimmy the key to her room. And Sonya was like, are you sure you trust him going into your room? And she's like, yeah, I'm going to ruin his life and ruin Naomi's life. And that was this segment. Then we had Rey Mysterio walking to the ring, and you had Nikki Cross behind a cage saying that she would be happy to play with Rey Mysterio. So I was a little confused here because I thought Nikki was a babyface and she's teasing the babyface. I don't know what that was, but I don't really know why this was necessary, but whatever. Anyways, we had the match. Actually, I did mention Samoa Joe. He just said he did what he did to Mustafa Ali to make a statement. He's going to win the Rumble. It's his first Rumble, blah, blah, blah. And that was that. Then we had Rey Mysterio versus Andrade. And words cannot do this match justice. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It is definitely a must-watch match. Pay-per-view quality. Could have been on any major pay-per-view. Best WWE television match in a very long time. It was fantastic. It was a lengthy match. It was given a good amount of time. They had it paced very nicely. It started off slow. They had a feeling out process. And then as the match progressed, they started doing more and more amazing things. Like, I can't even describe it. All the badass Lucha Libre stuff that Rey Mysterio has done over the years. A lot of people compared this to like Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero and some of those WCW matches. It was great. I mean, it was a really awesome match. These guys have so much chemistry together. The match was paced well. Lots of cool, innovative spots. Just a really fun, exciting match to watch. Very fluid. Everything they did looked really good. These guys just tore it up. I mean, they tore the house down for sure. Tony H with a $2 super chat donation says, match of the year better than anything from Wrestle Kingdom 13. Ooh, well, I think a certain guy from San Jose may disagree with you on that one, but, you know, you could take it up with him. It was an awesome match. I mean, for WWE, I mean, this was fantastic. And you have to see it if you haven't already. It's definitely going to be up there as an early match of the year contender and should end up being one of the best TV matches of the year. It's going to be hard to top this one. But then again, these guys were given the time, they were given the opportunity to go out there and have a great match, and that they did. And perhaps the best thing about this, I mean, you did have some outside interference from Zelina Vega. She tried to grab Mysterio's foot at one point, but he was just too fast for her. But then she got on the apron, and then due to that distraction, Almas was able to hit the hammerlock DDT from the turnbuckle, scored the pinfall victory, and there you go. Almas beats Rey Mysterio again. Right person won this. Mysterio doesn't need the win. There was no 50-50 booking. Almas, I keep calling him Almas. I guess I gotta drop that now. He's just Andrade. Andrade got over here. I mean, he really did. WWE doing the right thing. Rey Mysterio doing the right thing, putting him over, making him look like $1 million. Excellent match. Really, really strong stuff here. Probably the best thing from either show. I mean, it was really great. So then we had Jimmy Uso go to the hotel room where Mandy Rose was, and she took off her robe to reveal her sexy clothing. And Jimmy was like, you know, this cannot happen. And then all of a sudden a photographer came in, took a bunch of pictures, and Mandy said that, you know, did you really think you had any shot with me? And she said that she despises Naomi and she's going to show her the pictures. And then Jimmy was like, whatever. He walked off. And then all of a sudden we saw Naomi in the room. Naomi proceeded to beat the crap out of Mandy Rose. The two of them fought. More shaky camera work, which again, I'm not a fan of. The acting in this segment was a little amateur hour, but I mean, it was entertaining, I guess. Brian with a $20 super chat donation. Holy crap. Thank you, Brian. He says, since fans think Undertaker made WrestleMania, and he sent a $20 super chat, so I'm not going to complain about off-topic question here. Some fans think Undertaker made WrestleMania. Do you think the WWE refused Taker's retirement years ago to milk and expose him so fans lose interest and see that no one is bigger than WWE or WrestleMania? Okay, so I don't think that WWE is trying to ruin his brand. I mean, keep in mind, WWE owns the right to the Undertaker character, and I don't think he would ever go to another promotion anyways. I don't think WWE is trying to ruin his legacy or anything. I think it's merely the fact that Vince, in particular, wants to milk the Undertaker. If, you know, not in that way, but, you know, Undertaker at WrestleMania draws interest. And I think Vince wants to get as many dollars out of the Undertaker. Not so much ruin the character, but he wants to get as much mileage out of the character as possible. And if he feels Undertaker can do one more match, then he wants to do one more match and get more money. If there's more money to get out of the Undertaker, then Vince wants to keep him around. So I think that's the situation, but I don't think it's a matter of Vince wanting to ruin the legacy of the character and show, hey, look, pal, Undertaker's no bigger than WWE and, you know, whatever. But thank you so much for that super chat. Very much appreciated. Power Packers 90 with a $5 super chat donation. He says, did they not notice the WWE camera guy recording everything in the room? Yeah, that's the one big logic hole with these types of segments, because you're watching it and you're like, well, there's a camera right there filming everything. So we're just supposed to pretend that there's not a cameraman there and that we're watching through like a peephole or something. As much as I complained about TNA, I thought one somewhat creative thing they did was when they had the camera position like behind a wall, like halfway behind a wall, like kind of like peeking around the corner at a conversation. I thought that was a little bit creative. I'll give them credit for that. I think that might have been a Bischoff idea, and that was a good one. I did like that. I thought that was, it made you be able to suspend disbelief a little bit, and you're like peeking in on something you're not supposed to be seeing. So I did like that concept that I believe Bischoff came up with, but I'm not actually positive on that. Maybe somebody that's heard him talk on 83 Weeks could say more about that. Yeah, I think like a hidden camera would have been better, or GTV, bring that back. I mean, just something else. The way it was done, and then the cut to Mandy after showing Jimmy's face, like it just looked very amateurish and hard to really suspend disbelief. And then the camera guy running out, it just was, it wasn't really a very well acted or produced segment, but it had a little bit of entertainment value. It is interesting to see that WWE is pushing the envelope a little bit more with this stuff. Between what we saw on Raw with Alexa Bliss and, being half undressed in the locker room, to this with Mandy Rose, feels like WWE is starting to maybe tread into those more TV 14 waters again. We'll see if this continues to be a pattern here. I know the Alexa Bliss video did really well on YouTube, almost as many views as the Braun Strowman tipping over Vince's limo video. So it was definitely a big hit online, although it did generate a lot of controversy, much like my little question over the weekend, who's the most attractive female on the WWE roster. So I was treading the edgier waters a little bit, and the Twitter SJWs were not happy about that. I guess you're not allowed to ask a question about who the most attractive woman is in wrestling. I guess that's just wrong, morally wrong. I guess it would be even, imagine if I actually posted something saying who's the ugliest woman in WWE. There would be a lynch mob. There would be people with flames coming at my door. That would be a disaster. So, for people saying I was out of line for that, imagine I could have been way worse, but whatever. Mike B with a $25 super chat donation. Wow, Mike B, you are awesome. Thank you so much, Mike B. I guess he had to top the other one. He says, here you go, Aaron. Buy yourself something nice with this. You deserve it because you're awesome. NoDQ is the best. Thank you again so much, Mike B. If you have any other comments or questions, feel free to give me one towards the end of the video. Maybe I can keep this going a little bit longer here. Doing a little bit of an extended NoDQ live since you guys have been so generous tonight. Virtue says, I think of Cousin Eddie from Christmas Vacation. Get yourself something really nice. Virtue, we all need to get together and have a Christmas Vacation viewing party SummerSlam weekend. That would be a lot of fun. So anyways, back to SmackDown. Mandy did escape the beatdown from Naomi, and then Jimmy came to, just try to calm her down. It was announced that we will have Rusev versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the Royal Rumble. And by the way, Caitlin, I've seen Christmas Vacation a couple of times, but I'm not nearly as obsessed as Virtue is. I still think the original one is the best one, so I don't remember how I'm supposed to say that in whatever voice. I like the original the best. That one I've seen probably a good dozen times, but Christmas Vacation I think I've seen maybe 3 or 4 times. So I'm not quite as obsessed with it as some of the other hashtag Team NoDQ people. Rusev versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the U.S. title, set for the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. We'll see how that goes, if it ends up on the main card or if it ends up on the kickoff. By the way, when WWE was doing the whole video package for the Royal Rumble, they said 40,000 fans again. So it went from 40,000 to 50,000 back to 40,000. Now, I'm wondering if they're even going to legitimately get 40,000 people in that building, because I told you guys last night, I checked on Ticketmaster and there's a lot of tickets available for the Royal Rumble. I mean, a considerable amount. Pretty much every section you can find seats. The lower sections, the upper deck. There seems to be a situation where WWE's doing like a 2-for-1 deal now to try and get more tickets sold. Not doing so good, which I guess that's what happens when you try to do too many fly-in shows in a year. And let's face it, most people fly and do their one big vacation for WrestleMania. And now, in addition to that, you have All In and you have the New Japan stuff. So WWE has some competition in that sense. People are spending their travel money on other things besides WWE now. So with the Royal Rumble, I mean, it's mostly a fly-in audience, and they're just not moving the tickets. I mean, I guess they were hoping because it's the Royal Rumble, they would pack the stadium, but that hasn't exactly happened. Maurice with a $5 Super Chat donation. He says, "You're the smartest guy I met, but too stupid to see. He already made up his mind 10 minutes ago." That is an iconic line from the all-time greatest television show of all time. Sorry, Caitlin, it's not Buffy, it's Breaking Bad. If you guys haven't seen that show, you definitely have to check it out. Believe it or not, Caitlin has not seen Breaking Bad, so I am going to have to force her to watch the entire series. I'm sure she's going to make me watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but I will happily do that if she commits to Breaking Bad. Everybody in the chat room that has seen Breaking Bad, let Caitlin know how wonderful it is. And I'm sure there'll be the overrated comments, but it's bound to happen. All right, so we had the main event segment / match. We had The Miz come out for his big birthday party celebration for Shane McMahon. We had a big banner that said "Happy Birthday, Shane." We had 2 cakes, not one, but 2 cakes. And Miz was talking about how he spared no expense for these cakes. Miz likes to have Shane McMahon likes to have his perfect mix of chocolate and vanilla. Shane McMahon came out, and one of the cakes had a picture of them with the Best in the World trophy. Miz also bought a present for Shane, which was a pair of Jordan 33 shoes, which I guess Miz wants Shane to wear at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. And then Miz proceeded to show off a video package tribute to Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon then talked about how since he was a kid, he wanted to be the tag team champions. He brought up how Andre the Giant was always his dream partner, but he's still honored to be teaming up with The Miz and having the opportunity. Miz then sang the Happy Birthday song, and that was interrupted by The Bar. The Bar came out, and they were talking about the Royal Rumble, and then Shane brought up, hey, how about we do a match? We do Sheamus one-on-one with The Miz. Miz, of course, was not happy about this. Miz was wearing his suit, so he wasn't exactly in the right gear to compete, but Shane was like, well, you know what? I competed at the World Cup in street clothes, so can you. So Miz was reluctant, but he said, all right, fine. Then we had the match, Miz versus Sheamus. Cesaro tried to get involved, but then Cesaro ended up getting put through the table, which had the cakes on it. Or one of the cakes, at least. I think it was just one because the other cake came into play. With all this chaos going on, Miz rolled up Sheamus to pick up the victory. And then after the match, Miz set up Sheamus in the corner after... First of all, Sheamus tried to attack Miz after the match. Shane made the save. And then Miz dragged Sheamus into the corner. They're still talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. What have I done in this chat room? Shane McMahon was pressured by The Miz to do the coast to coast, but with a little bit of a twist. Miz grabbed the birthday cake and handed it to Shane, and then Shane proceeded to do the coast to coast with the birthday cake to Sheamus. Now, unfortunately, it wasn't really executed perfectly. I mean, the cake really did not go into Sheamus's face. It like kind of went to the side, like his chest or something. But it was a nice effort. Miz then, thinking fast on his feet, he grabbed the cake and shoved it in Sheamus's face, and they were calling it a coast to cake instead of a coast to coast. And then the announcers were talking about how maybe at the Royal Rumble it'll be a piece of cake for Miz and Shane to win the tag team titles. And that was the end of SmackDown. So bizarre ending. I mean, not something I was expecting. I wasn't expecting WWE to do a coast to coast with a birthday cake to end the show, but there you go. SmackDown overall, good show. Definitely Rey Mysterio and Andrade tore the house down, and to me, that is what really made this show. So I am going to give this show, again, I'm going to give it a very good rating, a good letter grade. I'm going to give it a solid B. I actually thought Raw was a stronger show overall, but the strength of Mysterio and Almas, or Andrade, whatever, to me, that really made this SmackDown a must-see. Caitlin liked it even more than I did. She gave it an A-. Michael Wayne, B+. Jeremy Dorset with a B. Joshua Rice with a C+. Caleb with a B+. Ryan with a B+. Again, there were parts of SmackDown I thought were all right. Not A quality, but Mysterio and Almas was A quality. So you definitely need to check out that match if you missed it. Good show, though. Very, very good SmackDown overall. Ken, terminated by Google with a $2 super chat, says, did Almas use the modified GTS last week? That I don't even remember at this point. So maybe somebody in the chat room can clarify that. So because Mike B was so generous with that super chat, Mike B, if you would like to throw me another question to keep the video going for a few more minutes, I would be happy to answer it. Same thing with Brian, since he sent in 20. Brian, if you're there, if you guys got any questions you would like to ask me, I'll keep going here with this video a little bit longer. Mike B, Brian, you guys still there? You got a question for me? Ask away. Oh, by the way, make sure you guys check out Glass. It's coming out in theaters this coming Friday. And from what I heard, it could very well break some records. Ha, ha, ha. Where is Mike B? Power Packers 90. Do you like tacos? Not particularly, believe it or not. I am quite the picky eater, I must say. You guys would be shocked the amount of food that I don't eat. Michael Wayne. All right, I'll just answer Michael Wayne's question then. Mike B says, no question, not The Miz as a face is awesome. Well, in that case, I'm going to have to just end NoDQ Live if you guys got no questions for me. Josh Mansfield with a $2 super chat donation. I hate how people say Shane cannot wrestle. He can. Well, Shane is all right, but his punches are terrible. Shane could take some really great bumps. The problem is when he's on the offense, it usually doesn't look too good. But regarding WrestleMania 36, I mean, there have been conflicting reports about it. At first, it was rumored that it was going to be in Minneapolis. Now it's being rumored for Florida again, which I'm really sick of Florida personally. Here's an interesting question about the Twilight films. I actually thought they were not that bad. I was dragged to those movies, but I actually thought that they were okay. I did not hate those movies as much as some other people did. What kind of cake do I like? I like anything chocolate. Chocolate cake is the bomb. Especially Hooters chocolate cake. Maurice, who is more badass, Walter White or Rick Grimes? Walter White, I mean, come on now. Rick Grimes was a badass at first, and then the writers just ruined that character, in my opinion. All right, so do we have any more wrestling questions? If not, I will go ahead and wrap up this edition of No DQ Live. Quick plug, nodq.com/shirts. Pick up a t-shirt, support the website. And stay tuned. I will have details later this week on social media, on my Facebook and on Twitter regarding No DQ pens that will be available. All right, we got one more question, so don't go yet, everyone. Or we got a couple more questions, so here we go. I'll keep this thing going. As long as you guys can throw me some good questions here, I'll keep going for a little bit. Hamp Kana with a $2 super chat donation. Did you ever play the WWE games on Super Nintendo? Yes, I did. I thought those games were very good, but I believe the games got even better as time went on. The Super Nintendo games, Super WrestleMania was okay, not great. I did like Royal Rumble, and I thought Raw was a pretty good game. I just remember, like, if you took the steel chair and you hit somebody while they were choking another person, then all of a sudden the person being choked was being choked by nobody. There were little glitches with that game that I really enjoyed, but I remember that more than the actual gameplay. To me, the game started really getting good when THQ came into play with Nintendo 64 with WCW versus NWO World Tour, and then WCW NWO Revenge, and then, of course, WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy. All those games were great. And then Tony H with a $2 super chat donation. Thank you, Tony. He says, could AEW do a Hog Wild style pay-per-view, outdoor pay-per-view? Probably not, because keep in mind, WCW did not get a gate for that show. They did not sell tickets. Basically, they just had all these bikers show up that were part of the Sturgis rally, and they were essentially the crowd, but they just came in on their bikes, and that was that. So WCW actually lost money from those outdoor events because they did not charge for tickets. So I doubt, you see, the thing about AEW is the ticket sales are important. Unlike WWE, where they're making revenue from so many other sources now, the ticket sales don't really matter much. For AEW, those ticket sales are really critical. So I don't think they're going to be doing that anytime soon, unless they can find a way to actually charge people for the tickets. But I think they're not going to take that kind of risk this early into the company's existence. I just don't see them doing that right away. They'll probably do the arenas for now and just stick to the tried and true formula. But, it would be nice, like, even if WWE did it, I miss those outdoor pay-per-views. I'd love to see Bash at the Beach come back at the beach. That would be a really fun pay-per-view. Or do a spring break type show at some fancy club. Like, I miss that stuff. I miss when the wrestlers would be thrown into the pool on Nitro. I mean, that was great stuff back in the day. And yeah, even though the Hog Wild / Road Wild pay-per-views were pretty crappy overall, I do give Bischoff credit for thinking outside the box and trying to do a different concept and do something we haven't seen before. So I do applaud him for that. All right, so TK with the $2 super chat donation says, early WrestleMania 34 thoughts. I think you meant 35. I'm not really sure how I feel about WrestleMania at this point. I'm sure it'll have the glitz and glamour. It'll have the hype behind it. But to me, WrestleMania, more times than not, has been a disappointment. The shows are just too long. And I still have a bad taste in my mouth from the Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar main event. I don't know. There's no one match I really want to see for WrestleMania. I'd love to see maybe Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar, although I'm just tired of Brock Lesnar. I don't know what I want to see for WrestleMania. Like, there's no one match that really stands out to me. Maybe Daniel Bryan versus Rey Mysterio or something unique that we haven't seen before. I don't know. Chris Mace with a $2 super chat donation. What about bringing back Halloween Havoc? Absolutely. I would love to see Halloween Havoc brought back as a pay-per-view. To me, that's a lot more rational than doing Hell in a Cell. It's October, so do a Halloween-themed pay-per-view. But if you're going to do it, you got to do it right. WWE needs the cool stage if they're going to bring back Halloween Havoc. Like that big giant pumpkin, inflatable pumpkin with the decorations and everything. That was another great thing that WCW did. They had the really cool sets for the pay-per-views. Bash at the Beach with the surfboards and all that stuff. And then Halloween Havoc. I miss those custom stages that WCW had. And Halloween Havoc was probably the best one. Instead, WWE just does the same generic stage every time with the LED screens, which is kind of boring, but whatever. Yes, Virtue mentions the bat, the gargoyle, all that stuff was great. So yeah, I would love to see Halloween Havoc be brought back. All right, guys, so on that note, I will go ahead and wrap up this edition of NoDQ Live. Thank you all so much for watching, supporting the site. Grab a t-shirt at nodq.com/shirts. Stay tuned to nodq.com for the very latest. I will be back soon with a NoDQ review with myself. I believe it's going to be the normal group, the normal foursome, myself, Virtue, Big G, and TJS. We will have Virtue's Rage. If you head over to nodq.com/virtue, you can check that out. Give them some love. Give them some viewership. So head over right now. Do it right now. nodq.com/virtue and check out his live stream, which should be going up 11 p.m. Eastern for those of you watching this live. Otherwise, watch it on demand and check out his stuff. So